Okay? This idea that I'm some cynical grifter, some cynical right-wing grifter from the communist perspective that isn't trying to create a environment of sufficient response to Donald Trump, to fascism by any means necessary. That's what I fucking hate. Yeah. My question always to those people is, where is the revolutionary potential of the masses? Does D just watch you all day? Is that all his content? Is really weird? Yes. Unfortunately, that's what he thinks is doing politics.
Here, that he tracked Fox News from 12 p.m. Eastern Time to 10 p.m. Eastern Time the other day. And he wanted to see, well, what are they talking about? What are they focusing on? How are they trying to drive the national media narrative? Now, before I show you, let me just say, make no mistake about it, they do drive the national media narrative. And that's part of the thing that pisses me off about mainstream media is like the right-wing state regime media, they set a narrative, they run with it, and then like CNN plays catch-up, right? Like all the other mainstream outlets play catch-up. And they're not hardcore right-wing, but they do the both sides bullshit, and they'll focus on whatever slop is being force-fed to them by the right-wing networks. And so you don't really have left-wing media in this country, never mind liberal media. Sure, you get some of that online, but you don't really get that in any mainstream circles. And that's part of the problem, is that the deck is stacked against the left for this reason. So take a look at what they talked about the other day, all day. This is what they talked about. Ready? Fauci, 89 mentions. Abdul El Sayed, 64 mentions. The WNBA, 64 mentions. AOC, 59 mentions. Hong, who, by the way, lost her primary. This was just before she lost her primary. 52 mentions. Sophie Cunningham, that's a WNBA player who's anti-trans. 34 mentions. Zoran Mamdani, 32 mentions. And they don't mention him in a positive way. And Hassan Piker, 29. And Asen says, as we get closer to the midterms, I think it's insightful to track what Fox News is focusing its coverage on. The list is based on a review of all Fox News programming from 12 p.m. Eastern Time to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, outnumbered to Hannity, relying on videos and transcripts from the programs. Some notes on the count. Fauci was mostly mentioned in connection with released text messages. Some of El Sayed's coverage was focused on his comments on healthcare. While some of the WNBA coverage did mention Sophie Cunningham, a lot of it seemed more focused on pushing the WNBA to accept Inez Cantor Freedom and Royce White. So that is, for those of you who don't know, that is former NBA players who are now doing this like anti-trans bit where they're pretending like, oh, I'm transitioning to a woman and I'm trans, and so now I'm signing up for the WNBA draft. And they're trying to like do a big gotcha on the WNBA to say, oh, you need better rules to protect women from trans people, and that's why we're doing this. No, you're not. You're doing it because you're right-wing hacks, and you're trying to get like a story in the news, and you're trying to say fuck you to trans people. Weird how this wasn't an issue before y'all fucking idiots made it an issue. And by the way, I should point out, both of these characters who are doing it, both deeply fucking mentally ill. One of them, I think, like, diagnosed so. Okay? They continue and say, the majority of AOC's coverage was focused on her woke one comment. Will Cain devoted most of his opening to her past comments and tweets. Her mention count would be higher, but she was mentioned only 4 times on the show, despite her tweets and videos making up a large portion of Cain's opening. Hong's mentions came either in reference to the upcoming election or AOC's comments. A lot of Mamdani's mentions came from repeated references to a hearing on the pied-à-terre tax.
You know what is another woke one remnant that I always hated during woke one that I talked about all the time? Quote mining. Quote mining and constantly holding people, the idea of holding people accountable by looking at like old shit that they've said, especially if they've changed, especially if they've grown. I used to fucking get so goddamn annoyed with that shit way back in the day, never thinking that it would inevitably come back to me. Okay? Like, ironically enough, I talked about that shit all the time. So, like, that is literally the most egregious version of woke one. Like, what people are talking about is, like, annoying. Especially because we live in an environment where people are, you know, using the internet since birth. It has its use in pointing out hypocrisy? No, it doesn't. In Mamdani would trust. Mods on here are fucking trash human beings. I mean, yeah, in Mamdani I trust too. No, it doesn't. Sometimes people grow. This attitude doesn't give people any room to do that. And it's wholly unproductive. And it's self-defeating because it sparks inevitable backlash against it. It sparks inevitable backlash against it, and it makes people lean into more reactionary tendencies as a consequence of that. Not to say that like that the reactionary opinions are born out of like our woke side going too woke or whatever. It's still a byproduct of the systems. It's still a byproduct of the social conditioning, but it certainly doesn't help. Like we always got to put our best foot forward. So I don't know what purpose it serves not to do that. And it's ironic because I've been so consistent on this too. But look, bro, I brought up a hypothetical. This is what I mean. Wait, what? I agree with quote mining is unproductive, but I appreciate if they acknowledge wrongdoings like Mamdani stayed silent on his wife's clothes. Wait, what? Dude, what the fuck? What is Mamdani supposed to say? I'm divorcing my wife for having awesome opinions? Like, what the fuck? That's insane. That's beyond the pale. This is what I was talking about. Where's the growth? What work have those people done to show growth? What's really funny about it is I brought up a hypothetical situation where I said, like, there are a lot of people who have actually demonstrated growth in this hypothetical. And sometimes people will point to their past quotes constantly over and over again to yell at them. And this guy took the hypothetical and immediately went, no. In this hypothetical where you said they've demonstrated growth, where is the growth? Bro, it's not a real person. It's a hypothetical example. I just gave you a hypothetical example where it says someone who has demonstrated growth, constantly having to address like shit that they've said in the past is fucking stupid. And you literally went, where is the growth? No, I'm going to keep doing it. Bro, you can't even imagine a world where you don't have to be fucking annoying? What work have those people done to show growth? It's like you can't even envision a world where someone could have fucking grown out of their position. That's ironically the problem. That is ironically the problem. You can't envision someone growing out of their past fucking opinions. And it sucks because you probably have grown out of your past opinions, but you happen to be anonymous right now. Not if they haven't shown growth. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, we're done. I can't respond to this. Let's continue with Kyle.
Hasan Piker's mentions don't count every time they used images of him in the background while covering candidates. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is why Fox News is cooked. This is why they're fucked. This is why they're completely and utterly unserious. They're talking about Dr. Fauci and the WNBA and Hasan Piker. They're talking about that to hide the Epstein files. They don't want to talk about the Epstein files. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about Trump being in there a million times. They don't want to talk about the Katie Johnson allegations against Donald Trump. They don't want to talk about Trump potentially being an Epstein co-conspirator. You know what else they don't want to talk about? They don't want to talk about the fact that up to 742 hospitals are going to close because of MAGA, because of the big bullshit bill that they passed. They don't want to talk about 18 million people being kicked off of Medicaid because of Donald Trump and his stupid fucking bill. They don't want to talk about over 4 million people losing their food stamps because of Trump, meaning kids are going hungry, but they actually might talk about that one, but they say it like it's a success, right? Like, oh, we got 4 million people off food stamps and now they're starving, but you don't say that part, right? They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the multiple illegal wars of aggression. They don't want to talk about Trump.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's like unbelievably stupid for liberals to waste any time on this, thinking that it's going to work. It's not going to work. And you're also actively aiding the Republicans in their fucking idiotic agenda. I'm not warning you because I'm scared that it's going to work, that the Republicans are going to destroy me and like finally you'll get rid of me or some shit. I'm just saying not only is it unproductive and it's not going to work, but like why would you personally decide to become a soldier of MAGA, of their ambition? Why would you as a liberal actively side with MAGA in their ultimate goals? I thought y'all motherfuckers were partisan. I thought the only thing that guided your worldview was partisanship, and you can't even do that right. Do you understand? Because the problem here is every moment that you as a liberal offer credence to the Republican attack ads is a moment where you're not actually flipping the script on him and being like, Donald Trump's the president. What the fuck do you mean some random Twitch streamer offended you? Are you crazy? What are you doing? Are you out of your fucking mind? Did you forget what Donald Trump is doing every damn day, including today, including yesterday, and certainly tomorrow? You think my fucking 9/11 comment is more offensive than Donald Trump's 9/11 comment the morning of 9/11 where he called into a fucking radio station and was like, well, silver lining is at least Trump Tower is the highest standing tower on Wall Street now. That's what that motherfucker said. Donald Trump's 9/11 comments go far beyond that. He falsely claimed that Muslims were dancing on the fucking rooftops in New Jersey and that he saw it with his own two eyes. Donald Trump is literally a psychopath. That's just on 9/11 in and of itself. Donald Trump has done, a 9/11 in Iran and has caused complete fucking global chaos. Donald Trump is currently actively funding his own personal army to go and occupy cities. You're over here being like, oh, well, this fucking leftist Twitch streamer, he's bad. No, man. You know what's bad? The fucking Epstein class is bad. Defending the Epstein class is bad, which Donald Trump is doing. Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. 2 Americans were murdered by Donald Trump's Gestapo force. Please, you have to be smarter than this. It doesn't make any fucking sense. You have to be smarter than this. I'm not expecting you to agree with every damn thing that I say. I don't even expect people in my community, lifelong, diehard fans to accept everything that I say and agree with everything that I say. I'm simply asking you to fucking lock in and understand the moment that we're in and what is necessary, because their goal on the Republican side isn't to actively farm enmity towards me and Mamdani and Abdul and then potentially get, the independents and the moderates to be like, who's actually much more violent than Donald Trump, this random Twitch streamer. That's not going to happen. That's a fucking idiotic argument anyway. No, what they're trying to do instead is use every waking moment in the readily available God's green earth on the internet and also on Fox News, and knowing full well that Fox News, whatever gets talked about on Fox News, will get talked about on MS Now. They're trying to flood the market and redirect and reroute discourse to what they want to talk about. So what we have to do is say, shut the fuck up. This is Red Scare. This is Islamophobia. And you don't have any positive thing that you can point to for the last 2 years, and you fucked over your own base, and that's why you're trying to flood the zone with this dumb bullshit about a fucking Twitch streamer. Suck my dick. That's what you're supposed to say. Do you understand? Why would you fucking willingly entertain the Republican narratives here? Are you stupid? Some of you are so hateful that you do unironically think I'm worse than MAGA. Okay? You do. I get it. But even if you fucking hate me, you just shouldn't be this stupid. Okay?
Kidnapping a sovereign leader and then stealing the oil and gold from Venezuela and putting it in his own fucking bank account. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the Manab little girl school bombing that Trump did, where he massacred 170 precious little Iranian girls. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about gas prices being sky high. They don't want to talk about grocery prices being sky high. They don't want to talk about the job market sucking ass now, as it does. So they've got all these real world issues, bro. All these real world issues. They don't want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. So understand, this is exactly what the Epstein class billionaires want. What they do is, it's called divide and conquer. This is what the Epstein class billionaires do.
Liberals aren't stupid. They're just anti-communist, which is arguably worse in 2026. No. Not every liberal is anti-communist, man. Stop. Every single one of you motherfuckers, you were all liberal at some point, okay? Every single person was a liberal. And it took time. But you went through an ideological transformation. You read books. You expanded your worldview, your consciousness. Stop assuming that the liberals that come in here are always going to maintain their insane positions. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's my argument. That's what I've been doing. And that's what I've been doing successfully for years. Oh my God.
And the way you achieve that is culture war slop. Oh, no, we're not talking about things that actually matter to people. We're trying to make them care about other shit, right? Like, oh, are you mad about the gas prices? Are you mad about the grocery prices? Are you mad because you lost your health care? No, you're not. You're mad because of trans people. So now we're going to do 3 hours straight coverage going after the WNBA because they don't have clear enough anti-trans rules in their fucking, in their pamphlet or whatever the fuck. I mean, this is a sick joke, but this is what they're doing. They're trying to whip people up into a frenzy. Be pissed at Dr. Fauci. Be pissed at Abdul because he wants to give you health care. Be pissed at the WNBA for not being anti-trans enough. Okay? Be pissed at Francesca Hong because she said like fuck Thanksgiving back in the day. Be pissed at Hassan Piker over totally out of context old clips of his. They have absolutely nothing. They are dog shit and they have nothing. I hope you understand this. The Republicans are dog shit and they have nothing. Why do you think in their campaign against James Tallarico, what do? They lean into calling him James Talafrico. And they run against, oh, he's way too pro-trans. How dare he? He should say fuck you to trans people like we do. Why are we talking about this? What are you doing here? You're throwing trans people under the bus for what fucking purpose? Again, it's because they can't talk about the minimum wage. They can't talk about free college. They can't talk about universal health care. They can't talk about the Epstein files because they're the pedo protection party, okay? They can't talk...
It's so funny that this cat just shows up and he just starts petting the cat while simultaneously talking about how Republicans are dog shit.
About any of these things. They can't talk about corruption because Trump is the most corrupt president in U.S. history by far, and it's not even close. So they can't talk about that either. So this is what they're focused on. Now, what I need to get across to the rest of the media outlets is grow a fucking spine and grow a brain, please, and set your own agenda.
Yes. Yes. Stop letting Fox News be your news editor, dude. Your news desk editing should come from you. Oh. These guys literally sit around and allow Twitter, which is base boosted by a fucking neo-Nazi freak, and Fox News, which is another neo-Nazi platform, become their news desk editor. They follow the lead of Fox News. They follow the lead of what they're seeing on Twitter. It's crazy. Set your own agenda. Inform the masses.
Hello, you could actually talk about the things that are important. You could actually talk, like, for example, a story just came out the other day about how Donald Trump is apparently allegedly paying mercenaries who are mass murdering Ecuadorian fish.
Yeah, this is what I was going to talk about as well. And they also literally murked the fucking prosecutor who was actively investigating the case of some of these fishermen.
Fishermen for him. Remember all the attacks, the drone strikes against innocent people in the Caribbean and the Pacific? They're apparently paying like gangster mercenaries to murder innocent people.
Yeah. Private jets are being chartered. Private jets are being chartered to go out and just like do aerial flight missions and just like fucking blow up random individuals, random fucking fishermen.
Why don't you fucking talk about that? I feel like that's a little bit more important than some bullshit anti-trans garbage that was mucked up to distract people on purpose. Why don't you talk about that? Like, I just need CNN to get serious. I need them to stop with the both sides false equivalence bullshit. I need them to tell the truth. I need them to have their moral outrage meter recalibrated. You know, maybe talk more about the illegal war crimes Trump is committing. Maybe talk more about the self-dealing and less about whatever nonsense Fox News is forcing on us. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do it because they're so used to just being like weak little cucks who just like go with the flow. And the flow is just right-wing garbage day in and day out. But you know what? I shouldn't be complaining because fact of the matter is that's why people watch this show. Because you're not getting this in mainstream media. You're not getting a focus on the shit that actually matters. You know what I'm saying? And that's why people come here. It's like, hey, at least he's talking about real shit. At least he's talking about real shit. At least he's mad at the right people. But no, here we are. So Fox News is completely and utterly falling apart at the seams. And it's embarrassing. Like the fact that they're talking about this shit, this is embarrassing. I do think that the material reality for so many people in this moment is so bad that these tricks are not going to work. Like sometimes they do work. Let's keep it real. Sometimes these...
Yeah, if the economy was like even marginally better, I think this kind of like militant posture towards the socialists, towards the communists, and towards transgender people, like that would probably work. But I think people are hurting too much. Like people's pockets are hurting too much for them to be like, I don't give a shit, dude. What the fuck do you mean? Transgender athletes? Like, okay, how about fucking instead of transitioning genders, how about you transition some money into my fucking pocket? You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here. And it's so funny because the Republican independent media apparatus is also falling apart, and this is also indicative of their lack of real grassroots mobilization attempts now, right? Every single independent media outlet for the Republicans are falling apart. Not a single one is doing better. Why is that the case? Because people have had enough of their fucking bullshit. It was great when they were winning, right? It was great when they were quote unquote winning. When they could at least say like, well, Trump is at least doing something. But now that the things that Trump did yielded no positive results for the broader American working class, they've realized like, oh, this guy sucks too. So yeah, I urge liberals to wisen up. I don't want to take an antagonistic position to liberal media. Okay? I don't want to do it. I have a more collaborative relationship with some brilliant journalists, investigative reporters, and the like in these newsrooms. I think they're trying to do their very best. In some instances, the editorial team obviously takes over and fucks things up. But god damn, dude, it is fucking unbearable. And my warning to those media bosses is this. This was my warning for the last 3 years. I said, look, you lost a lot of quote unquote credibility for invalid reasons during COVID when you were trying to do your very best to inform the public about what the epidemiologists were saying were best practices in a novel virus that was killing millions around the world. Okay? So you lost a lot of credibility in that timeline because people were frustrated. People were like, oh, I don't want to fucking hear this. I don't want to hear someone tell me no. That was not for good reason. That was for a bad reason that you lost credibility. So what did I say during the post October 7 universe? I said over and over again, if you don't cover Israel's genocide with the seriousness that it deserves, if you don't talk about the victims, if you constantly try to contextualize the violence that Israel is bringing about in the region, people are seeing the true nature of Israel's military action. They're recognizing that it's heinous. They're going to stop listening to you. And that's precisely what happened. The media, mainstream media, is at its apex in terms of the crisis of credibility. Nobody trusts mainstream outlets no more. And I say this as someone who is an independent media analyst, right? I say this as someone who's in independent media. So when they stop trusting you, they trust me instead. So it's beneficial for me. It's beneficial for me for you to fuck up over and over again as you've done technically, but I still understand that there is a very important service for mainstream outlets. Like, we need real journalism. We need accurate reporting. We need to bring back consensus reality. Okay? So even if you lose credibility and I gain credibility because of my unvarnished commentary, my truthful commentary, as opposed to your not so truthful commentary that is obviously very biased in the direction of the State Department, very biased in the direction of America's foreign policy goals, very biased in the direction of Israel's goals. Even if that's beneficial for me, I understand that in the long run, it's not good for anybody. So we have to get back to reality. And a big part of that is to no longer lean into the nonsense that the Republicans are trying to present as the main thing to talk about. Stop leaning into the manufactured outrage concocted by Republican charlatans. Go your own way. Talk about the awful shit that this administration is doing. There is plenty to cover. It's a target-rich environment. If you don't do that, more and more people are going to stop tuning in. Anyway.
Divide and conquer tricks, the culture war slop. Sometimes it works, but I don't think in this moment that it will work, because when gas prices are this high, when grocery prices are this high, people are fucking pissed off, and that's why Trump has a 36% approval rating. And then never mind the fact, you feel the pain from that, and then that other stuff resonates even more because of that. Like, I'm pissed off, so then you tell me that there's an Epstein pedophile cabal that Trump's in and he's protecting all the people. Well, fuck him, right? Fuck him. And now you're telling me that we're bombing little girls in Iran and spending $1 billion a day to commit war crimes instead of spending that money here? What the fuck are we doing? I just lost my health care, but you could spend over $100 billion in a stupid war of aggression? Fuck that. So people are feeling it. So I don't think this shit is going to work.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out.
Look who else hopped on the Alex Jones Carvid trend. Oh, Mike Lindell. Mike.
And we still have some of those all-season slippers up at $25 a pair. To thank all of you out there for the great, for supporting us through all this. My employees, we've lost all our box stores, our shopping channels.
This is fake, but it is very funny. Yeah, he's not driving. That's really funny to think that he's shifting gears without moving his shoulder at all in his someone's average extra Emily stream. Stop. Oh my God. Ay. So many Twitch streamers, man.
We get attacked every single day, and my pillow should not have to be attacked when they're protecting companies out there that we never heard the names of before, which I don't need to name all the voting machine companies, but and we're still doing.
He's got paddle shifters, bro. Sure. Someone in the chat asked, what's the European left's position on Hassan? And it's really funny because I did an interview with BBC Radio for last night after I was done with the broadcast. And I got the reporter to laugh at what I was saying, because I literally was like, these guys keep calling us communists, and a real ever-present danger because we're advocating for Medicare for all. Now, of course, your listeners already have a nationalized healthcare system, so they probably understand how ridiculous this argument is that we can't even advance in a direction where we have socialized medicine without, numerous powerful forces losing their minds over it. Like, so yeah, for the European perspective, they don't see guys like myself. I mean, I guess there's the Euroid like NATO lovers that don't like my foreign policy. But as far as my domestic policy, of course, they're like, this is ridiculous. This guy is considered an unbelievable fucking communist because he just wants healthcare. So yeah, if you're wondering what like the European left's broad opinion is on me, I'm certain it's another moment where they look at someone like myself and go, this is an insane country. Look at what this dude has to fucking deal with. Look at how psychotic this country is, that these people keep calling these guys who just want, like, in the interim at least, like, Nordic style social democracy. And they think that these initiatives would be very, very terrifying for America. It would destroy America. It doesn't make any sense because they live in that reality already. They live in that fucking reality. They already see what that system looks like. Do you think Jeremy Corbyn knows who you are? You're joking, right? 6-month subscriber. Dog. I was in Cuba with him, and not only that, but also, like, of course, I've been on panels with him numerous times. Yeah, and if you're wondering, like, about the French left, I mean, I've interviewed the leader of the LFI, Jean-Luc Mélenchon. I love him. I think he's a lion, and he's the only one who I think can restore French sovereignty, and I'm in favor of that. So yeah, that's the other side of the story. A lot of people in America are trapped with horse blinders, where they think that, like, our side and our advocacy is fucking radical. It's insane. Meanwhile, there's a whole world out there, even in the Western world, there's a whole world out there where they look to us and they go, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, y'all are yelling at the Democratic Socialists of America. You're saying these guys are radical. For Europeans, the rest of the liberals are radical. The rest of the parties that say, no, you got to keep healthcare paywall, they're the radical ones. They look at that and go, what the fuck is that? They can't even understand it. But Americans don't recognize that because Americans don't see any other country as a real country. They just, like, close their eyes. Same with Canada. Canadians look to us and go, what the fuck is going on? In the same exact way, where they're like, oh, I hope they don't invade, first of all, but also, God forbid. Mamdani on top. UK wants another Mamdani style guy. It's fucking crazy flipped. One interesting detail. Mamdani holds a 6-point favorability edge over Hochul statewide with similar name recognition. Yeah, Mamdani is at 47, 44 plus 3 favorability. Hochul is at 49 unfavorability, negative approval, 46 favorability, minus 3. The gender gap is stark. Hochul is 12 points underwater among men. Mamdani is even. Yeah, by the way, remember this guy, Zoran Mamdani, the mayor of New York? Remember how much liberals also complained about him and said he would be a dangerous radical, said that he would fail, said that the Republicans would use his failure to tarnish the rest of the credibility of the National Democratic Party, as though the National Democratic Party is seen as a favorable entity to begin with. Remember when they said that over and over again? You don't hear that anymore. Have you noticed how we don't hear from those people anymore about Zohran Mamdani? Do you know why we don't hear that anymore about Zohran Mamdani? Perhaps it's because he has been unbelievably successful. Perhaps it's because he's probably, at this point, one of the most popular figures in American politics. Perhaps that is the reason why Democrats now do not want to put themselves at odds at odds with Zohran Mamdani. Perhaps that's the reason why they don't fucking shit on him anymore. Here's another funny moment. Yeah, lol, they literally used a Hitler font, says Jesse Brown. New York, Habibi City. New York's diaspora of Palestinians, Iranians, Yemenis, and their neighbors are flexing their cultural clout, and not just because of the mayor. This obviously frustrated a lot of Zionists. They lost their fucking minds over this. And Will Menaker says, if you're a Zionist dealing with the overwhelming popularity of both a mayor you detest and the continued existence of a people and culture you're seeking to eradicate, at what point do you pack up embarrassing shit like this? I mean, seriously, that's the other side of the story, right? Like, these guys tried to unleash a barrage of propaganda against Zohran Mamdani. Wall Street Journal is still doing it. Right? Wall Street Journal recently wrote, Zohran Mamdani's honeymoon with New York is over. And that's insane because New York City polling experts can correct me, but these approval ratings are relatively high. No, the latest Siena poll showed mayor's favorability rating at 47%, up slightly from a June poll. Among likely New York City voters, his favorability rating is 69%. He's one of the most popular politicians in the country because it's not like he's reinventing the wheel. He's just clearing the lowest bar necessary to clear, which is seemingly an impossible task for the rest of our politicians, which is doing his fucking job, okay? Doing his job and showing the work. That's it. He's filling potholes. He's working on municipality level issues. He's following through on his campaign promises. And lo and behold, people go, actually, it's fucking awesome when someone does that. Okay? I don't think people understand. He has the goddamn Fedayeen backing him. Like, people under the age of 45 will die for this man. Okay? Even his initial haters, as a matter of fact. No one wants to say he sucks. It has been very difficult for me to try to gauge public disapproval of Zohran. I try my best, even amongst like rich people that I sometimes am around. I'll ask, like, what do you think about Zohran? They go, I fucking love the guy. He's so awesome. I've met one guy who didn't like the pied-à-terre tax thing that he did, where he was just like, I don't really like that he singled out Ken Griffin. He's a very important business owner. I was like, okay. But that's it. Even motherfucking rich people love the guy. Remind the chat, this is why they're trying to smite you and every insurgent. Once people are accustomed to government doing what they're supposed to, there's no going back. The capitals will need a nuclear war or a zombie apocalypse to reset this country. Exactly. Just as the gains of the New Deal were impossible to roll back, once people have social services, they expect it to continue. Once people have social expenditures, they expect that to continue. That's precisely the reason why the great white whale for the Republican Party for the past 40 years has been Social Security. They can't roll it back because old people love that shit and need that shit to live. Okay? They've tried to cripple it. They've tried to undermine it, but they can't destroy it no matter how hard they try. Because when you give people certain things, they expect it. That's the same reason why the NHS for years and years in the United Kingdom has not gone away in spite of the post-Thatcherite neoliberal universe that they live in. Okay? Decades of austerity, and people still want to maintain it. Same applies to good governance. Once you restore confidence in good governance, once you restore confidence in politicians just simply telling you that they're going to do something and then working tirelessly to commit it, to do it, to achieve those goals, all of a sudden you have confidence. You're like, why can't we have that? That's why I have said over and over again, they do not fear our failure, but our success. That's it. This is a very funny way that the media tries to attack him still. Almost half of New Yorkers aren't supportive of Democratic Socialists of America. Poll. Alan MacLeod says, English is an amazingly creative language. Because the poll shows that it's actually more than half of New Yorkers that are supportive of the Democratic Socialists of America. But they tried to fucking frame it negatively. Instead of saying DSA has majority approval in New York, they said, well, almost half of New Yorkers don't approve of it. So, yeah. This is where we're at. Anyway, let's look at
things
this.
that are obviously false. So I decided to do some research on how propaganda actually works on the human brain. Because there is a pattern here. The people who fall for propaganda are not randomly distributed across the population. They share very specific psychological vulnerabilities that propaganda is deliberately designed to exploit. Propaganda has been a science for almost 100 years, and the people using propaganda against you right now know exactly what they're doing. Here are the 4 ways propaganda actually works on your brain. 1. The repetition trap. You've heard the same lies so many times you've stopped noticing that they are lies. That is not by accident. In 1977,
Hassan is bad. Communism is bad. Hassan is bad. Socialism is scary. We can never have Medicare for all. We can never have Medicare for all. The only money that we can spend is on unlimited wars.
Psychologists Lynn Hasher, David Goldstein, and Thomas Tapino at Villanova and Temple universities ran a study where they showed volunteers a series of statements. Some of those statements were true, and some of those statements were false. They showed these statements across multiple sessions, weeks apart from each other. What they found destroyed the assumption that people can simply recognize false information and reject it. Statements that were repeated over multiple sessions were rated as significantly more truthful than statements people had only seen once. It didn't matter whether that statement was actually true. It didn't matter whether the person knew the statement was false before going into the study. Repetition overrode prior knowledge almost every time. Psychologists call this the illusionary truth effect. When the brain mistakes familiarity with truth, the more times you hear something, the more times your brain processes that thing as credible. Not because the evidence changed, but because repetition makes information easier to process, and your brain interprets that ease as reliability. That is why the stolen election lie did not die after 61 courts rejected it. That is why the claim that immigrants cause more crime persists after every study shows the opposite. That is why vaccines and autism remain linked in many people's minds, despite the original study being retracted and its author losing his medical license for fraud. These people were not persuaded by evidence. They were worn down by volume. Say it enough times, and the brain starts to believe it. That is the default setting for most human brains. The only way to defeat that is education. 2. The engineering of consent. Propaganda does not work by changing your mind. It works by bypassing your mind entirely. In 1928, Edward Bernays, the man widely regarded as the father of modern public relations, published a book called Propaganda. In the book, he described with remarkable truth exactly how public opinion is manufactured and controlled. Bernays believed that manipulating what the public thinks is not just acceptable in a democracy, it's necessary. And he considered himself one of the people doing it. Bernays called this.
I don't understand how anyone can be a Republican if your main goals are to maximize growth and cut domestic spending. You hit a logical fallacy. Every major domestic program is 2 to 5% of the entire U.S. economy. Gutting anyone would cause a recession. So their only way out is always spend that money on military. Yet conservatives are anti-war, ? So you expect the Republican president to just not use all that money Congress just gave him? Yeah, but what you have to understand is they're not voting for any of that shit. They're voting for transgender culture wars. Okay? Dude, there was a very informative study that I used to bring up all the time where Republicans were asked about what policies they subscribe to. And then they were told the impact of said policies. And when they were told about the impact of the policies that they subscribe to on the Republican platform, they didn't believe it. And it's really interesting because this already happened with abortion. Americans are so divided on abortion. That's what they always used to say, right? Americans are divided on the issue of abortion. But once abortion access was restricted, all of a sudden we found out, as a matter of fact, they aren't divided on abortion at all. They don't want that shit to be restricted at all. Part of the problem is, another one is a survey of Republicans where you tell them the official platform of the Republican Party and they universally refuse to believe it. That's it. Now, of course, propaganda is not an inherently negative word, although liberals use it as an inherently negative word, but it's like, it's supposed to just mean like, you know, Holy Oliver has been putting that work. Oliver Larkin, DSA candidate for Florida 25, confirms his campaign has now raised $1 million from over 19,000 donors. The Florida Democratic primary is on August 18th in 5 days. But is it enough to combat Jared Moskowitz' $3 million plus nearly $1 million from super PACs? Congratulations to Oliver Larkin for crossing over the 1 million boundary. He's been busting ass out there. Holy shit, Bernie. Oh, yeah, I saw the semaphore. Bernie Sanders isn't ruling out transferring the $22 million in his campaign account to boost Abdul al-Sayed in order to counter GOP money. I'm going to do my best in every way to see that Abdul is elected to the U.S. Senate. We're going to do everything we can. That's my goat right there. That's our precious boy. Okay? You don't understand. Fox News poll on the Michigan race. Fox News Beacon Shaw poll. U.S. Senate, Michigan 2026. Mike Rogers, 51%. Abdul al-Sayed, 47%. Yeah, no shot. We should be worried regardless. We should be pushing like he's 10 points down. No, Fox News poll doesn't mean anything. Fox News is a high-rated pollster. That's not a bad poll. Yeah, Fox polls are legit. I'd rather have him be down in the polls than up. How are we feeling about Oliver? I'm worried about a big underperformance, not by his doing, just worried about the disconnect between online real life and it being Florida, not a ton of polling. Just keep smiling and dialing for Oliver. That's it. Yeah, based on the Hong race, we got to be pushing like he's down 27. Yep. Speaking of Bernie, yeah, I already saw this. Bernie actually responded to the Netanyahu's war thing. I cannot believe he even evolved on that position. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, he's an old man, dude. Oh, dog, are you fucking kidding me? Politico. David Crowley reiterated after winning the Democratic primary he will not embrace the moratorium on data center development that Francesca Hong ran on. No moratorium, Crowley said in the interview. Oh my God, it's literally, oh my God, it's Kamala Harris again. It's Kamala Harris all over again. It's just like, this is for Wisconsin and for many other places around the country, this is literally the same as like the Israel situation. They are just refusing. They are just fucking refusing. They're like, nope, win or lose, we fight with our values. And I guess their values are against the wishes of the masses. Please don't do this, David Crowley. David Crowley. Yeah, Crowley's to the right on Greg Abbott. Now, Greg Abbott is lying because he wants to fucking win. Greg Abbott is lying, but at least he's fucking lying. Because the Republicans have recognized how unbelievably unpopular these fucking data centers are with their base even. What are the Democrats doing? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, dude. They will never learn this lesson because it's not a lesson that they want to learn. I don't understand it. Like, look, this is the most like libtarded person on election Twitter. Polling on data centers is really, really brutal. In Wisconsin, 76% of voters said the costs outweigh the benefits, including 67% of Republicans. Gallup found 71% of Americans oppose one being built near them, including 80% of 18 to 34-year-olds. Heat map found 55% would support a national ban. Now, this guy or gal, I don't know, this person is one of those people that's like, oh, you got to pivot to the center. You got to pivot to the center. You got to be moderate. You got to be moderate. You got to be moderate. And even they realize how fucked up this issue is. Tom Tiffany already said he's going to block data centers being built on farmland. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Dude, Tom Tiffany's going to win and then build the data centers. And there won't be a trifecta. Oh. This is the only way that you fuck this, okay? I'm telling you right now. This is the only way you fuck this race up. The only way. 530. Yeah, let's look at the number on data centers real quick.
Thank you, my friend. There is no debate when it comes to where people stand on AI and data centers, and simply put, it's electoral poison at this point. You rarely see this type of agreement. Oppose building AI data centers in your area.
Bro, what did I say? What did I say? Oh my God, what did I fucking say? Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Oh my God. I said there's two things that the base is united on. And it's like bipartisan for the voters. I mean, Israel and data centers. And Democrats are like, how do we still run closer to both Israel and data centers? I am losing my fucking mind. Holy Toledo!
Holy Toledo.
If you want to put a third thing in there, it's fucking mass surveillance by way of flock cameras. Oh my God, they can't help themselves. They literally are just like, we need to lose. Crowley told Politico he plans to use this is a meme, right? This is a meme. Crowley told Politico he plans to use GOP rep Tom Tiffany and President Trump as foils that bring everyone together. Oh my God, he's running the harm reduction route. Oh my God, he's running the harm reduction route. Oh my God, he's running the harm reduction route. David Crowley, please do not do this. David Crowley, please don't do this. Please, 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 I beg of you. David Crowley, please do not run the harm reduction route. If he comes out and completes the trifecta and says he's like always, Wisconsin will always be pro-Israel no matter what, it's over. It's over. The Republican in the race, Tom Tiffany, understands the negative, the disapproval of data centers. David Crowley's political ally, Francesca Hong, is a political liability if she campaigns with Crowley on the campaign trail. They're worried that her brand of democratic socialism and past controversial social media posts about defunding the police and canceling Thanksgiving could affect Crowley's wider appeal. Hasan, stay out of this race. Let it go. You can do nothing. They made a choice. State of flock and tear. State of flock and tear, Wisconsin, baby. Bro, what is happening? Is this a joke? Come on, tell me. Tell me they're joking, right? They're like, haha, just kidding. Of course we're going to lean into the platform, some of the platform that brought out 300,000 people in Wisconsin that we defeated by less than 1%. Please tell me that you're joking, right? This is a joke. This is a joke. There's no way. There's no way that this is actually... They're going to run on just the pure anti-Trump. That's it. That they're going to run on pure anti-Trump. Kamala Harris did this. Kamala Harris did this. That's crazy. Can't say he's not consistent.
I would argue we have to listen to independents and Republicans because we don't have a monopoly on good ideas.
You have no power in this race anymore. You need to focus on something where you can actually make a difference. Michael Pillow has his election stolen from him, and the establishment is refusing to do anything. He needs you. As you said, that less than 1% victory gave centrist Dems a mandate. They don't need any dumbass lefties. The playbook is Abigail Spanberger. Yeah, the problem is Abigail Spanberger was the only option at that point, and she pivoted harder to the right after she won, not before she won.
Governor Tony Evers, welcome. Thanks as always for...
Yeah, I saw this clip. He says like the left is going to have to fall in line or something.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and get you for one more segment. Oh, we're good. I guess we no break.
Okay.
Even better. All right. So what do you say to... I heard from a lot of them this morning because I've been critical of Fran Hong's campaign on the radio. What do you say to supporters of Fran Hong who are now looking at this election? We didn't get her. Now we have David Crowley. What do you say to those folks?
Yeah, they have to play along. I mean, not play along. They have to be part of it. We want them to be part of it. Obviously, a whole bunch of people. Is David going to get...
Yeah, no, he let it slip. And then he caught himself. And he was like, I mean, they have to be a part of it, not play along.
Behind some of the things she talked about, no. But at the end of the day, the big issues are something that I'm sure she feels strongly about. I hear her talking about schools all the time, and so she'll be a good person to have around.
Do you think there are any lessons to be learned from this primary? I wish there was. I've been thinking about that a lot.
Do you think there's any lessons to be learned from this primary?
I wish there was. I've been thinking about that a lot. I think, and I don't want to put it on the pollsters because I personally knew that if I was with David and we went around the state, all we had to do was visit people and talk to them. There's a whole bunch of people that were they didn't know who to vote for, and how can a pollster catch that? They can't, and so I just think it's just important that we do a better job when we're running for office to make sure you're getting up north as
no lessons at all. Like, it wasn't like it was a blowout. You know what I mean? It was like you came in, you did the electability argument, and it worked. And there's no takeaway. 300,000 people. An open democratic socialist who was running on an anti-Thanksgiving campaign almost won. Okay. With only negative earned media that amounts to millions of dollars, 0 linear TV ads, almost blew your back out, and you got no lessons from that? None. Not even a little bit. Like, no, the good policies, the excitement on the campaign that brought a lot of people out. Nothing. Dude, thank God Michigan is not like this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Thank fucking Christ Michigan is like, we're all united. There's only one Democratic Party, and that's the anti-Trump party. We're going to go and win every vote that didn't vote for us. Oh my God. Could you imagine if Abdul was like, what lessons are there to learn? Fuck them. As a matter of fact, that wasn't even what I was saying, and they tried to make it seem like that's what I was saying. You know? And thank God, Haley Stevens and Mallory McMorrow and even fucking Governor Gavin Newsom, like, everybody immediately hugged and kissed Abdul, and they were like, we're on a mission. I've never seen a cocky leftist victory. They're always gracious, even in victory. Meanwhile, I've seen many cocky centrist moderate victories. Why are we even trying to work with the establishment Dems, bro? These people are corrupt and evil. They likely cheated in this election. It makes 0 sense. What gives? Yeah, okay, dude. Haley Stevens asked about you again, said to condemn you. Oh my God.
Should he condemn Hasan Piker? Should Hasan Piker be on a stage? I believe he should be condemned. I do. I said that. That's what I was just saying to you. I was saying on election day, I said that. And if asked again, you're asking me, I do think he should be condemned. I don't know what the guy has to do with Michigan. Israel comes to me in my dreams.
I hit the wrong button.
What gives?
Haley.
What gives?
Just say, who cares about Hasan Piker? We have an opponent to defeat. I don't understand why a Twitch streamer has become a primary fixture in a Senate race, and I have a pretty good idea as to why. It's because Mike Rogers can't run on being close to Donald Trump anymore. Mike Rogers can't run on anything that Trump has done that's positive for Michiganders. And I, as a Michigander, am sick and tired of talking about this guy. He's not from Michigan.
What gives?
You know, you don't have to just be like, yeah, he should be condemned. He should be condemned. It's over. The race is done. You don't have to serve AIPAC anymore. Well, she probably wants this. She probably wants a different office, but like, just it's okay. Let's just not. Just for like the next couple of months, and then we can get right back into it. Okay. Stop giving her pointers. You potentially wants to win. No, she does. I mean, she's a party apparatchik.
Should he condemn Hassan Piker? Should Hassan Piker be on a stage?
I believe he should be condemned. I do. I said that. That's what I was just saying to you. I was saying on election day, I said that. And if asked again, you're asking me, I do think he should be condemned. I don't know what the guy has to do with Michigan.
If I were you, I'd step away from Wisconsin and just let it all pan out. In the end, hopeful Michigan's unity will speak for itself while Wisconsin turns to shit. I mean, I don't want it to turn to shit. Yeah, to be fair, she didn't even say Abdul should condemn him. She just said she condemns me, so that's fine, you know? No, she's cool. She's still our girl.
I'm 12. What is this?
Stop. Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin, you're in my heart, but unfortunately, you will not be top of mind. Yeah, you guys deal with that on your own, okay?
Includes 70% overall. But look at this. On the lower end of the spectrum, you still get 3 in 5 Republicans. You get more than 3 in 5 in urban areas, 63%. And then what's really interesting is you might expect, hey, Democrats in rural areas, rural folks, they don't necessarily see it the same way always when it comes to issues. But on this, they do. 75% in the rural areas and 76% of Democrats. You see across the board clear position.
Yeah, rurals are less interested in data centers than urbans, because that's where the data centers are being built. That's why there is a 60 points negative approval on the GOP side. Where do the Republicans live? Rural areas.
Which is the vast majority of Americans and voters are against building AI data.
Yeah, I'm sure the numbers for pro data centers will be better in the future. It's not like shit's getting worse. Yes, that and Israel. I'm sure by tomorrow, Israel will be a more popular country. Okay? What the fuck is this?
I promise you hope. I promise you change. Change you can believe in. Together, we will move America forward.
Bro, don't show this to Crowley. He's going to be like, well, some Republicans have good ideas. You know, there's a lot to learn from them. Hassan Piker, he's divisive. Republicans, on the other hand, well, you know, Democrats don't have a monopoly on good ideas. We got to listen to what they have to say. Also, I wonder what data center contributed to that beautiful work of art. I love data centers. We need more of them. Okay. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers couldn't remember Kamala Harris's name during the 2024 Democratic National Convention roll call announcing the nominee. Watch the whole clip. It's insane as the Biden debate fiasco.
Wisconsin, how do you cast your vote?
Thank you, Badger Jason Ray, for all your good work. As a proud governor of the great state of Wisconsin, we're home of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I mean, they're fucking blitz. He's blitzed, probably. He's hammered. So you click AI dog shit, but not this? What is this? What are they looking at? Fear and I've wanted to draw all these guys together for forever. My fave podcast for a year and a half now. It's nice. It's beautiful. It's great. You know what we're looking at? A big, beautiful data center being built in our backyard. Israel comes to me in my dreams, and so do data centers, okay?
Centers, and that's why I said at the top, it's simply put electoral poison at this point. When it comes to the politics of it, it is very clear people are against it.
I'm not talking about the facts here, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. Just This is how people feel about it, and it's pretty clear, and you don't see agreement like this on many issues. Correct. So on, these data centers, if they are going to be built, how do people want to see it done?
One of the key nuggets that those who want the data centers to be built will say is we have to stay ahead of China when it comes to tech, right? So there's a great poll question that essentially formulated this, right? Americans on building AI data centers, slowly to address local concerns, of which there have been many, or quickly to maintain the tech edge over, folks like places in China. And on this one, it is a 4-to-1 clear blowout. I mean, we're talking about 78% of Americans, voters say slowly to address local concerns. Just 1 in 5, 21% say quickly to maintain the edge over China. And again, what we see is across all of the different political and demographic groups, everyone agrees that they should be built slowly to address local concerns. And so when we start off at the top saying, hey, there is this debate, there really isn't much of a debate when it comes to the politics of it. The vast majority of Americans at basically every single camp are in agreement on this. They want to be built slowly to address those local concerns.
And credit where credit is due. I think this question is actually phrased really well here and lets people come down on a side here with advantage potentially for both sides. How do people view the impact of artificial intelligence in general right now?
Yeah, I think this is part of a larger debate, Johnny B. And it's just, look at this. Say AI development is bad for society. Again, what you see is clear majorities across the board. Groups that don't normally agree on anything agree on this one. 63% of Republicans, 74% of Democrats, 75% of independents, and 70%, as I come over to Johnny's side of the board over there, overall say AI development is bad for society. Again, the electoral politics of this are very, very clear. AI and data centers are simply put electoral poison at this point.
It will be notable to watch how candidates deal with this heading into November and beyond that. It really will be.
Back in July of 2024, 53% of voters who said they were extremely motivated to vote said they were.
Yeah, I just checked, by the way. Tom Tiffany literally launched his campaign with a hard line on data centers. As in, Tom Tiffany is going to outflank David Crowley on data centers. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's literally the same as Donald Trump being like, I'm going to bring peace to Palestine. I'm going to bring peace to Gaza. I'm going to end all the wars. And Kamala Harris is like, no, we're staying the course. Oh my God. Everything used to be a relitigation of 2016. And now everything is a relitigation of 2024. I'm fucking losing my mind. Oh my God. The worst part is that moneyed interests on this issue are almost entirely on the 21% side. So if you support the 78% position, you'll probably get nuked into oblivion by the money faucet anyways. Thanks, Citizens United. Awesome democracy we have. Yep. They're hitting him on this. This is sickening. Abdullah Sayed wants Michiganders to trust him with their families. Meanwhile, Detroiters couldn't even trust him with their pets. Democrat Senate nominee Abdullah Sayed reportedly oversaw euthanasia of over 4,600 cats and dogs during his time as the executive health director. It's not pets. Every state operates animal shelters to euthanize animals. You lie like every breath. Yeah. Yeah, he did it personally. He did that. Oh my fucking God. Yeah, that's just, As a part of Detroit Public Health, like he oversaw the animal shelters. Yeah, they're leaning into Islamophobia. They're like, oh, Muslims hate dogs. Oh. %76 of Wisconsin thinks cost outweighs the benefits. Even Tom Tiffany is lying about taking a hard stance against them. Oh my God. Don't do it. Just let them do it. I don't want Wisconsin to be controlled by an election denying freak. I want Wisconsin to be able to do redistricting. I don't give a shit. This is the same with like all of my criticisms of Kamala Harris. Okay? Do not post that. Wait, why? What do you mean? They are going to blame you? Wait, why? I said, David Crowley, I know you hate me, but please don't do this. People fucking hate data centers. 76% of Wisconsin thinks the cost outweighs the benefits. Even Tom Tiffany is lying about taking a hard stance against them. That's a perfectly valid quote. They really don't want you, bro. Just leave it. It's not about Tom Tiffany or the centrist Democrats, man. It's literally just about Wisconsin. I mean, I met you motherfuckers living in Wisconsin. What do you mean? Don't say anything. Tom Tiffany is watching.
Can you name one issue where you disagree most with her? One of the biggest issues?
Well, one of the biggest issues that we did have a disagreement on was related to the data centers. She wanted to see a moratorium.
Can you?
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's Tom Tiffany posted this. Tom Tiffany is posting this. Tom Tiffany is going to slam the data center issue into the motherfucking ground here. Oh my God, what is going on? Bro, just say Thanksgiving. Just say you love Thanksgiving. Why would you say data centers? Just say Thanksgiving. Say I don't want to abolish the police. Say I love the police. Don't say data centers. I feel like the Walter White meme in the car going, no! No! They found his old tweets too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Dirt McGurk is his Thanksgiving might be safe now, but Christmas isn't with David Crowley, aka Dirt McGurk. Yeah, this was known before the campaign. That's not new shit. Dirt McGurk is his alt account that he was using to say some fucking. He's a poster too. Okay, he was saying some shit on that account as well. Bro, are we gonna find out why David Crowley was trailing at 6% when he dropped out? Is this the find out part? Like we fucked around and now we're about to find out? A fun online story with this primary was Ken Klippenstein convincing the left that Crowley loves data centers and will bulldoze the House on the rock on Mark Zuckerberg's orders. Wait, what? He is literally pro data center. No idea what you're referring to regarding Klippenstein. I'm describing Crowley's stance based on his words, some of which you can read below. I've seen that vid, and if you listen to how it starts, it strikes me as an artful pivot away from his opposition to a moratorium. All data centers are not created equal. Our job is to make sure that those data centers are paying their way, that they're paying for the full energy cost, that they're paying for the infrastructure and grid upgrades. Heck, I think that they should be subsidizing our energy users across the entire state. It's that careful pivot to prairie populism that has some Democrats, especially the moderates and centrists, who are still raw after Michigan, hoping Crowley might claw his way to nomination. While everybody's afraid of these data centers extracting our precious resources away, how about we find ways to extract as much possible from these data centers to help our local units of government? All right, let me play that song again. We got to play that song. No, we're pro data center now. Oh my God, I'm pro data center. I love maybe if I say that, they'll be like, actually, this is a bad idea. We hate Hasan. We hate Hasan. We fucking hate Hasan. So he's pro data center. We hate it now. You think that could work? What do we think, guys? You think that could be a successful method here? What are we thinking? Are we feeling that? Are we feeling that? Here, look, I love this. Is my favorite song. This is my favorite song, bro. Listen. Listen, guys. Listen to this. I need a data. Data centers are kind of growing on me. Me too, man. Me too. Yeah, data centers come to me in my dreams. Hong, moratorium on AI data centers. Crowley, the government needs to partner with venture capital firms to expand AI data centers all over Wisconsin. Stop. Stop. Yeah, if he was even vaguely left and in the lead, elite media would have spent 3 weeks obsessing over his old tweets instead of just shrugging them off. But instead, he wants to ram AI data centers into every corner of the state and listen to Republicans on trickle-down economics. And that's why the old tweets are not getting mentioned, which they shouldn't at this point. They shouldn't get mentioned. Okay? We're not going to do this. I'm not going to like fucking I'm done. I'm done talking about David Crowley. We're done. Wisconsin, you're in my heart, but you are no longer on my mind. After I look at this Oppo dump inside the GOP secret Francesca Hong Oppo file. So here's why I wanted to look at this, not because like this is adding insult to injury or anything like that, but I want to see what their mentality is, right? Like what they thought was going to be the successful strategy, right? And I guess this will also this will basically allow us to understand what they're going to try to do to Abdul. This is a great insight into what the midterm strategy is, right? Francesca Hong's primary loss of Wisconsin gubernatorial primary wasn't just a blow to the socialist left, it's also a bummer for the Republicans who were salivating over running against her this fall. Many of Hong's most unpopular left-wing ideas, defund the police, condemning Thanksgiving as a weapon of genocidal colonialism, her constant invocations of white supremacy were already well known to the primary and ultimately helped sink her campaign. Hong rarely backed away from many of them, but Republicans had apparently many more arrows in their general election quiver after Hong narrowly lost on Tuesday. A source sent me the entire 349-page opposition research dossier put together by Republican Tom Tiffany's gubernatorial campaign. Assembled with the expectation that Hong would be his opponent in November, now, next to the useless, the bookmark Privileged and Confidential by the GOP research firm that compiled it, offers a tantalizing glimpse into how Republicans were prepared to bombard Wisconsin voters with a showcase of Hong's Portlandia-style rhetoric and controversial votes in the state legislature. Much of the research file is devoted to Hong's repeated use of social justice language that became chic among the left in the Trump era. At times, it reads more like woke Mad Libs. Some of the hits. In 2020, she wrote, "The neighborhood gentrification is violence against black people." In 2021, she sponsored... Dude, America's the only country where you just get punished for being right, by the way. Or maybe, I guess there's plenty of other countries where this happens too. But it is kind of funny where they're just like, look at this fucking woke-ass nerd. It's like, how dare she, correctly point to things? Like, did she go a little bit overboard? Certainly. But, like, it sucks. It sucks so bad that, like, we're a nation of fucking dumb bullies at this point. Where we're just literally like, look at you, you fucking stupid nerd. Ah, fucking stupid nerd, kill yourself with your nerdy ass opinions. What the fuck? No, she didn't go overboard. No, there's a chatters. Please. There is a way to frame these things. When I say she goes overboard, I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm saying there is a way to frame these things. And when you're running for office, especially in a state like Wisconsin or any state really, you can't be as overboard with your language. Okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I just said she's not wrong. And that this country is where people are punished for being wrong. Isn't that lying? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not lying. Okay? Here, I'll give you an example. Medicare for all. Socialized medicine. There are two ways to present it. Okay? Should you fucking come out and be like, I want to literally make sure that no one ever has a job in the for-profit healthcare industry. I want thousands of people to lose their jobs. Or should you say, I want Medicare for all because I want millions of people to have health care? There's two ways of presenting it, okay? God, some of you guys literally think the only way to present issues is the most fucking annoying way possible. How are we this autistic? How are we this autistic as a community where we think LARPing to the maximum degree and be as repulsive and as toxic as possible about our moral posture is the best way to win people over. This is what I mean when I say it's fucking crazy. This is what people mostly mean when they say woke one was crazy. This is what they're talking about. They're talking about you. We learn from the best. Crying? Fuck no. I never do this. I try to stay away from this all the time. Half the time, I'm yelling at a motherfucker doing exactly that, and then they clip me and they say, Hasan is a reactionary. Oh, the venue for Chomp for the oligarchy rally just canceled on us following intense intimidation from right-wing agitators to conservative Dems. We won't be silenced and continuing full steam ahead. Oh, fuck, man. There are different ways to communicate the same idea. Choosing the one that's more palatable isn't always watering down. Sometimes it's just, how do I get people to support this thing in the most effective way, which everyone should want, as opposed to some aesthetic linguistic preference? No, there are motherfuckers in this community, there are motherfuckers on the left who literally go, no, actually, that means you're watering down your worldview. Okay? That's literally a thing that some people think. It's very annoying. Okay, sometimes it's just lying. Look, not giving up on it. Okay, not giving up on it. Oh my God. Nope, you're right, chatter. Is it, guys, is it possible? And I mean this sincerely, okay? Is it possible that you might be wrong? Like, is it possible that it's okay to be tactful about how we communicate our desires for a better future? Do you think it's possible that you might be wrong on this? I'm just saying, is it possible? No, and fuck you for asking. Because the majority of people don't do in here don't do shit IRL. That's literally only comes from fuckers who never talk to anyone IRL, and they need to shut the fuck up. People would rather LARP online than see the real world change. Exactly. Because if there's no shot you carry this energy with other people in the real world. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think? Like, I walk up to people immediately and I'm like, do you want to abolish the commodity form? Like, what do you think normal conversations in the real world look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, you think I walk into a business and I say, where is the boss here? I will destroy your petty bourgeois tyrant. Like, who is the boss of this bodega? Where is the Hitlerian small business owner? Point me to him. I am now placing him under citizen's arrest. Like here, I'm going to go through the process piece by piece and explain something to you. Neighborhood gentrification is violence against black people. Here's a great way to reframe that. Improving our neighborhoods is awesome, but we should find a way where we don't displace the existing inhabitants. Oftentimes, black and brown people who are on the older side have been living in these neighborhoods for many years. It would be a great disservice to displace them. Look at that. Did I water it down? Did I water it down? Did I lie? Is that lying? Okay, let's see another one. And for the record, I'm not even faulting her for saying this shit. It's 2020. Woke one was crazy, right? Like, I'm not even faulting her, but she's not running for office at this point. And she certainly... They played the clip of you talking about the average voter. What is this? A guy who's like, I really like Francesca Hong's policies, but I'm also a stupid guy who in his diapers. And I will be Soylent Green one day because I'm so dumb. It's like pundit brain. I can't do it. I can't. You're going to catch me on voters. I don't like. Yeah, I'm talking about people who do pundit brain, who is like, I like the policies, but I'm going to vote for someone else because I'm stupid. Gonna need you to say the word proletarian before I unsub. It's nice that they put your Twitch address. That's true. Finally. Anyway, whatever. Will Kane in the membrane. I don't care about this shit. Okay, we're done. Hasan is old news. Let's get back to the Oppo dump. So, in 2021, she sponsored a resolution calling systemic racism a public health crisis and demanding the state legislature create an equity-oriented country and society. No issues there, no problems there. For years, Hong's bio on X described her location as occupied Ho-Chunk land rather than her home in Madison. Again, who cares? There's plenty in the book, too, about Hong's years-long crusade about defunding and abolish the police. Although many of the comments were already reported by CNN's tenacious Andrew Kaczynski, Hong made a number of remarks about systems of harm and how police forces are tools of white supremacy. In 2021, she called for the abolition of the carceral system, which Republicans would have surely spun as Hong calling for prison abolition. On immigration, Hong has loudly called for ICE to be abolished, which is not a secret, but the book references ICE agents as terrorists and fascists, terms that repel swing vote. No, that's not. That's fucking bullshit. She's right on that. The environment is totally ripe for that kind of commentary. Literally, the much more moderate progressive Peggy Flanagan won on that. And then went and on the night of her victory speech, she said, we are going to rip ICE apart. Okay? So no, that's just wrong. That's just Republicans are stupid. They don't understand how much people fucking demonize ICE and hate it. June 2020, Hong reiterated calls to defund the police multiple times. Again, not a problem there. You can just like reframe it. Zoran method. Just be like, I think that it was far too vague. This slogan was far too vague. I'm not interested in sloganeering. I'm interested in solutions. And I think what we should do is understand that cops have a very tough job. They just want to serve their communities, lie a little bit and say something along the lines of like, we got to make sure that they're, they got a lot on their plates. So we got to make sure that we aid them with like, social workers and take away some of their work off their plates, that type of shit. Oppo book also features 10 pages of Hong staking out far-left positions on trans rights and gender issues. 2021, she supported taxpayer-funded task force to study the societal barriers of equality for intersecting gender non-conforming individuals. In 2022, Hong referred to pregnant women as pregnant people. That's so funny. Who cares? No, this is actually fucking silly. This is actually silly. This kind of stuff is nothing. This kind of stuff in the hands of a decent communicator is just like, what are you? Okay, who cares? Like, who cares? Who cares? What are you talking about? It's all culture war. That one did one shot Anna. Like, as a guy who didn't do this shit, okay, as a guy who did not do this shit in the same exact time frame, I'm a professional political pundit. I've been doing this. I was around back then. You can go back. I didn't do this shit, right? But I never also like faulted people for doing it because I don't think it matters. I think people were just trying to be as courteous as possible. Who fucking cares? I think like obsessing over this in either direction is so unproductive. And that is my problem with quote unquote woke 1.0. Okay. That's it. That is the problem. That is literally the problem. And it made people so insane, bro. It made people on the right so fucking insane. It blows my goddamn mind. Like, I'm telling you, I didn't do any of this stuff. I thought it was silly because I didn't think that that's how normal people talk. Okay? It's just not. Like, people were trying to be as accommodating as possible, and in an effort to be as accommodating as possible, they started talking in a way that normal people don't talk. And it made them look academic. It made them look inaccessible. It made them look strange and out of touch. Okay? It's just not how people talk. Now, of course, there are certain instances where it's valid for people to talk like this, in an academic setting, or if it's a doctor or something, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. It makes sense for people to use these terms in different settings. But if you're doing it in a broader setting as a legislator or whatever, yeah, it's a little strange and it comes across as though you're out of touch. But who cares? Like, the optics weren't great, but who fucking cares? How could you make this your life's mission? Like, as though we don't have any other broader problems, you know what I mean? Like, this always signaled to me that you were just, very comfortable. Very, very comfortable. Only comfortable people are just like, what can I find to get pissed off about? You know what I mean? The voters kind of care. No, I know, but the voters wouldn't care if you were actually presenting them with something. Here, I'll give you an example. Okay? If someone is running on like universal child care, Medicare for all, as your governor, I'm going to fucking do both of these things, right? I'm going to punish the utilities providers. I'm going to make sure they're no longer jacking up your prices. Also, Latinx. People are probably going to focus on the first three things, then the fourth thing, okay? If you offer people things, they hyper-focus on the things you're going to offer them, and they'll probably overlook some of the other shit that they find to be silly. Okay? That'd be really funny, by the way. My 4 policies, you know how like Abdul has Medicare for all, money in your pockets, money out of politics? It's what if his platform was money in your pocket, money out of politics, Medicare for all, Latinx? Just out of nowhere, he was just like, and also Latinx. Hasan, they legit won off of the abolition of Thanksgiving tweets from 2019. No, they did not. That just didn't. That wasn't helpful because it fed into her, she's not electable, she's not ready for primetime argument. That's the only thing. If Caitlin Collins was like, hey, what do you think about Thanksgiving? Like, do you want to cancel it? And she was like, no, I don't want to fucking cancel Thanksgiving. You know who's canceling Thanksgiving? Donald Trump, because it's impossible to afford food. That shit would have done LeBron numbers. And I'm talking young LeBron, not old LeBron. People would have went, brr, brr, brr. She's on it. How can you say this person is not electable? That's it. It's comms. It's comms. It's about using the moment and the opportunity to your advantage. Some people can do it. Some people can't do it, but you can always train someone to be able to do it. And yes, in the general, I think Francesca Hong would have been able to tighten up her comms. Do you understand? And after a certain point, they would have been like, yeah, I am sick and tired of addressing this stuff. Who cares? This is cancel culture in the opposite direction. What are we doing? Okay, I was more woke back then. Who fucking cares? I want to help Wisconsin. I want to help the people of Wisconsin. Okay? This is so ridiculous. This is exactly what's wrong with politics nowadays. Everybody talks about what you said 4 years ago, 5 years ago, instead of what I want to do now. what I want to do now for the people of Wisconsin. I'm a Wisconsin nationalist. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Oh, there's so many different avenues. There are so many different avenues you can go with that. You can be like, I'd rather have 2 woke tweets in 2020 than what Donald Trump was saying and doing in 2020 when he was telling people to drink bleach. You feel me? You get to hear your family members without the hum of a data center. Moms demand action. Wait, what the fuck? I'm not going to say anything about this. Great. It's great. It's awesome. Spanish is a gendered language, and in 2016 and 2020, there was a lot of talk about gender-inclusive language. Academics suggested Latinx is a possible way to be gender-inclusive. Okay, stop. Stop. We're not relitigating this shit. This is literally giving me... Shh, guys, don't say anything about Oliver Larkin. Mom's demand action. That's great. Okay, let's continue. Let's move on. Sometimes you don't have to show me stuff, okay? In 2023, she voted against a bill banning gender reassignment surgery for minors. That same year, she supported a local resolution that would make Dane County a legal sanctuary for trans and non-binary Wisconsinites. Again, beast mode, totally fine. She also opposed legislation requiring, like, you want to know the argument to this? The argument to this that's successful? I'll tell you the argument to this that's successful from a governor in a plus 35 Trump state. His name is Andy Bashar. Those are God's children. And these decisions should be made between their healthcare provider, just like abortion should be a decision made between a healthcare provider and the patient. These are decisions that should be kept to the doctors. I'm an American. I don't believe in government interference in these affairs. Boom. Those are God's children. Those are your neighbors. That's exactly what Andy Bashar said. And he was a fucking lion for it. And he said it in Kentucky. Okay? And people love him. So you think Andy Bashar, who can say that in Kentucky and still win, you think that can't happen in Wisconsin? Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, let's continue. Most of these comments are probably to be expected from a DSA state legislation. Wait, this is it? That's it? They had nothing. Just all culture war nonsense. I thought there was something secret in here. What the fuck? This was ass. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, this is awesome. If this is what they got for Abdul, oof, great. Great. That was 300 pages of just literally them going woke, 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 woke. That was 320 pages, bro. Or 349 pages. Anyway, as a Kentuckian, Bashir, sorry. Oh yeah, Corbin Trent. I genuinely rather die than ever defend this entitled, rich, out-of-touch, clout-chasing piece of shit. He can rot in actual hell. Corbin Trent says, don't know your actual policies, but I assume you're aligning yourself with the administration that's trying to lock people up for their political ideologies. Then you're right-winger, yeah? What an incredibly stupid statement. You thought you ate, but you didn't. Do I think Hassan Piker should be thrown in jail? Obviously not. Do I think Dems need to defend a vile anti-Semite who spent the last year attacking every Democrat under the sun he doesn't like? Definitely not. Try again next time. I think Benjamin Netanyahu and Itamar Ben-Gvir have done more to inspire anti-Semitism than anyone else I can imagine. Also seems like trying to wrap Zionism and Judaism into a single entity is probably not good. As a local example, I'm from Tennessee, but I reject the KKK. Notice you didn't actually defend Hassan. You skipped straight past the part where he said he's spent a year. I said he spent a year attacking every Democrat he doesn't like and now wants them to run to his defense. These guys think they represent something. Bro, you're just a random guy. I don't know why. Like, you don't have to do it. I'm not talking to you. I swear to God, these people, like, Israel has fucking warped their brains so much that he's literally just go live in Tel Aviv, man. What are you doing? Why are you in America then if you love Israel that much? Everybody feels super special lately. Too much social media. Yeah. He had to get truther. Nice. Anyway, this guy literally does not understand the message here. The message here that went viral on Twitter and it pissed off every fucking Republican was this. If you don't actually fucking swat away these attacks and lean into them, you are not going to get anything good out of this, okay? Because every moment that you are leaning into the Republican attacks is a moment where you're giving in to the Republican narrative, okay? It's the same with trans issues. It literally doesn't make sense. You also made it to the front page of Reddit, get noted, sub, always full of D-writers and bots that have little to no context. Yeah, that's their job. Okay, someone literally said this earlier. Or what they do is they brigade the notes and then they brigade the get noted post. And then it makes it to the front page of Reddit. And they're like, look at this fucking idiot. Look at this fucking idiot. He just got noted. He hates liberals or something like that. It doesn't really matter. It's another avenue to fucking, get, it's an unbelievably empty victory. It just doesn't mean anything. Okay. I don't know why they also think that it's like, doing anything. I don't know why they think that this is like destroying me or something. Who gives a fuck? I've gotten some of the most insane community notes of all time where people say I'm not white, I'm a yellow person and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, also, we can eradicate this right now and rate it not helpful. You know what I mean? Anyway. Here's direct advocacy to harass you. What is this? I don't want to have. Oh my God, look at these fucking context notes. There's LSF. Hassan has been over 2 years attacking.
We need to start community noting this Adri chick on every bad tweet we can find. Like when she's tweeting stuff that's not correct, because she's his #1 fucking spokesperson, and almost everything he says is a lie. We should start community noting the fuck.
My God, he literally just watches you in the corner of a stream. Is so pathetic. No, literally, that's all he does. No, for like the 2,000 to 3,000 people that are in his community, this is literally what they think is political advocacy. It's so sad. They unironically think this is political advocacy. This is political praxis. This is like the peak of praxis. It's the saddest. It's the most pathetic way to exist. But hey, it's fine. Keep him busy, I guess. So anyway, Corbin Trent says, that was supposed to be a never again kind of reminder, yet it seems to have failed. I don't understand people. We fairly recent history to show how this goes. First, it came for the communists and the socialists and the trade unionists. Except Trump first came for the liberals, and Hassan laughed and cheered and played EDM rave songs while dancing and hooting and hollering. What the fuck? Oh my God. Brother, Trump didn't first come for the liberals, okay? Trump came for the immigrants, and you guys were celebrating it because you thought they deserved it because some of their family members were Latino and voted for Donald Trump. Okay? I didn't forget. Anyway, this Naymiller quote is about people being rounded up and killed under Nazi Germany, comparing that To me, not wanting to defend a millionaire streamer is not a serious comparison. Nobody's persecuting Hassan. What do you mean nobody's persecuting Hassan? The government is literally actively trying to investigate and prosecute me. I've been on numerous government documents. What are you talking about? Bro just fucking closes his eyes and plugs his goddamn ears. He's like, nope. Where the fuck was it? I lost it. Where the fuck was the thing? God damn it, I have too many tabs open. Did I close the tab? I guess I did. Anyway, whatever. Oh, it's right here. You do not get to spend years trashing Democrats and then demand they close ranks around the second it costs you something. He's a 35-year-old man. At some point, that means owning your own choice and instead of expecting the party to attack the sport, bail you out. Are you aware of the NSPM7 of Marco Rubio, Bassett, Trump, and many others in this admin saying that socialists, specifically incoming reps, are a greater threat to America than 9/11, Pearl Harbor, or either World War? If you aren't, you should read Ken Klippenstein. He breaks it down. Actually, I think you ought to be able to advocate and promote policies and ideas that attack the establishment Dem Party and then still expect them to support your freedom to do so when a rogue regime attacks people for their political ideology. Bro, Congress has come after me. The State Department has come after me. The Vice President has come after me. What the fuck what is this guy talking about? You just agree with them because you're basically a fucking Republican. Can you address whatever the fuck this is? Oh yeah, this guy's awesome. I'm not going to dunk on him. He's irrelevant. That guy's dope. He says the Dem Tea Party moment is actually a failure. Why? Because he just doesn't like the people. That's literally it. He doesn't think any of the insurgent candidates that won are actually valid victories that show anything because it was just too easy or something. Yeah. If I were a moderate, I'd probably respond to the DSA's gains with Democratic voters by proposing policies likely to resonate with those voters and solve problems facing the country. The challenge, though, which explains this alternative approach, is that they don't have them. Yep. I think it's worse, though. I just think they don't want to concede to the left and on any issue. And they still think they can just go, nah, it's electability. Yeah, stop calling it the Democratic Tea Party. The anti-incumbent wave is bigger than that and also bipartisan. Yes. Primary defeats of House incumbents during 2010 Tea Party cycle were 4. Primary defeats of House incumbents this year so far is 10. And on top of that, what's even crazier is that the Tea Party movement was entirely astroturfed, right? The Tea Party movement is backed by the Koch brothers. The Tea Party movement was funded by the Koch brothers. It was entirely astroturfed. Whereas this movement is entirely grassroots. It is a remarkable achievement. That's why they're so fucking scared. No matter what they say in the media, they are terrified, okay? So we're clear, this is Tom Barrett refusing to return cash from a diminishing and seriousness of accusations against a man who faces such credible allegations of domestic violence that multiple Republican senators have called for his resignation. Yeah.
There are folks in the district who are calling for you to return campaign contributions from Congressman Max Miller's campaign committee. Do you have any
just
response
right off the
to that?
rip, right? Nothing to do with transportation.
Sorry,
You're just like,
gotta get it out of the way. Yeah.
No, you know, obviously the challenges that Max Miller is going through are, really devastating for their family and something that is, really sad to witness. I'm somebody that believes in due process, whether it's due process for Max as he goes through the ethics process or due process for my opponent, who's a convicted felon. I think that, that due process is a fundamental right that we have to respect as Americans. And, we have an ethics committee in Congress for a reason.
He said my opponent is a convicted felon. That's so awesome. So what's hilarious about that is like fucking William Lawrence. Okay, that's true. He did get arrested. Okay. Do you want to know for what reason he got arrested? It was awesome. It was fucking beast mode. First of all, the president is a convicted felon, so it's really funny to say that. But the reason why William Lawrence, swagged out white boy, quirked up white boy who is kind of on my shit list right now for knifing DSA, is a convicted felon. Do you want to know why? Because he got arrested when he was 22 years old, when he locked himself to some construction equipment and refused to leave the job site. Police ultimately cut his bonds, and he was charged with resisting and obstructing police, which is a felony. He took a stand against Enbridge Energy by locking himself to the equipment. Was it righteous? Absolutely, he said in a video on Instagram. Was it wise? Perhaps not. What is this? I swear there's been a recent influx of leftists attacking other leftists for not being left enough, like all over online. I genuinely think something is going on. YouTube has to be pushing videos on how socialism of the DSA is not good enough or is actually fake. It's crazy. Nah, that's normal. That's always existed. Like ultra records have always been around. It's a little bit of a knife fight for the most part because like it's not a psyop always. It can be, but it's not always a psyop. I will say it like this. I think it's a power. It's an attempt to grab more power. A lot of people on the left understand that we have a very small amount of people who have been primed, right? We have a very small number of people who have been radicalized, who have recognized the contradictions, who have developed class consciousness, who understand their position under capitalism and want to do something about it. So leftists, I think, intrinsically understand that reality. So instead of seeking out, the masses and talking to them, they just go after wherever those people are. And DSA and this community as well happens to be the most primed audience. They can't go out and talk to normal people about how they have to be Maoist third worldists and about how the labor aristocracy is actually, by way of unequal exchange, destroying the nations in the periphery and benefiting from it tremendously. Because if you were to go up to a homeless person or, I don't know, a regular gig economy Uber driver and explain them this concept, the Uber driver would probably kill you and himself by ramming the car directly into a wall at 65 miles an hour. So that's the reason why they can't do that. So they have to do it here. They have to come in here and be like, well, you guys are supposed to be knowledgeable on this reality. And how dare you exist in the world with this knowledge, with this shame of living in a fucking developed nation in the first world at the heart of empire and try to make things a little bit better for everyone, including the American working class. When the American working class is a part of the labor aristocracy, you guys should all purchase weapons and immediately kill yourselves instead. That's what they try to do in places like this. Right? And unfortunately, because our ideas are outside of the confines of liberalism, there are a lot of people who find themselves in what I like to call the crank sphere, right? A lot of socialists, instead of moving in the direction of Marxist orthodoxy or trying to become a little bit more pragmatic and be as understanding and charitable to people's starting points and their shameful liberalism. Instead of doing any of that, they actually end up finding themselves in the crank sphere, and they become left-wing Professor Chungists, right? Like there's a lot of that. There is a deep desire to find and unearth hidden truths about the world amongst all of us. And that's what it is. There's also trots, which is a specific tendency that exists to do just this, although there are trots in DSA as well, and they're fine from what I understand. Chirpers think infighting online over earned influence is better than doing the work IRL with leftists with common principles. This pathetic crab in the bucket mentality that would rather try and peel off those who are radicalized on the path than actually reach the masses. Yeah. My argument always has been the same. I'm like, listen, if your ideas are fucking so awesome, if they're bangers, okay, like I'm with you, then go out to the fucking regular market, you know? Instead of trying to come in here and tell me I ain't doing shit and I'm actually wasting away the revolutionary potential of the masses, like go out there and meet the masses where they are and build this movement, build it larger. Why do you think this is the only place where you can eat off of? I don't even have a problem having a collaborative relationship with people who I will engage with and people who I have comradely disagreements with, right? I don't even have an issue with people like that. What I take issue with is when you go from, yeah, I think this guy is like a decent entry point into socialist thought to this guy is actually cynically working within the confines of the DNC. He's a CIA agent. He's a liberal Zionist. And then you find yourself literally collaborating with Zionists as well and highlighting their propaganda because your mission becomes single-handedly to destroy this community, you know, like where you think like I am the number one op to global communism or something. It's very, very stupid. There are a lot of people who believe this, by the way. I know we joke and stuff, but there are literally people who see the unlimited barrage of reactionary propaganda from Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC. And I, honest to God, have seen some of these communists on Twitter. They go, oh, I think this is a psyop. I think they're actually doing a psyop to make me as a communist think Hasan is actually radical and worthy of defense. And I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah, Rupert Murdoch wanted you and 13 people in your immediate friend group in your fucking Splinter Discord who are Shining Path supporters to actually finally recognize that I'm a revolutionary enough communist to maintain the support of your 13-person reading group. You know, that's what Rupert Murdoch was trying to do. Rupert Murdoch was thinking, he's dialed in to your Hammer and Sickle reading group, you know? He's like, oh, this is what we're going to do. That I don't understand. No, that's literally, there are a lot of people. Look, we're human beings, okay? And we have a tendency to believe that the world revolves around us, right? And therefore, everything that's happening, it's happening to like make me confused, right? And instead of looking at the barrage of reactionary propaganda that seeks to undermine what I'm doing here because they actually do see it as a threat to the established forces of power, they look at that and they think, oh no, this is like a 5D chess play from Rupert Murdoch and all these corporations. Rupert Murdoch and all these corporations actually have decided to like present Hasan Piker as a dangerous radical so he can dupe all of us into thinking that he's actually a real one. He actually is a threat to power. No, sometimes the truth is actually far simpler than that. The reason why they're doing it is because they do see me as a threat. That's it. And for many, many years, they didn't see me as a threat and they didn't do shit. Because for many, many years, I quietly would fundraise for initiatives, Amazon Labor Union and the like. But ultimately, I didn't actually try to change American politics. I didn't actually roll up the sleeves and go on the road and work alongside this robust, much larger movement of, DSA cadre candidates and Democratic socialists all around the country, and also aligned individuals to try to go after incumbents within the Democratic Party and unseat them and also actively push for even a senator who is sympathetic to social democracy. Maybe not democratic socialism, but at least social democracy. That is the problem. And it's extra bad that these weren't even just allies that were democratic socialists, but they were also anti-Zionist. Okay? That's why for years and years, the reason why I was getting unlimited fucking oppo from YouTubers and not the entire media infrastructure, the entirety of corporate media, from Fox News all the way down to ABC and CBS and numerous other outlets, including liberal outlets, was because I just kept to myself. I just kept to myself. You understand?
It wasn't really a
I've never met a person that thinks any of those Rupert Murdoch things where you're encountering these ultra records, and why do they always seem to get conflated with people just prioritize organizing over elections as a primary strategy? People who prioritize organizing as over elections as a primary strategy don't come in here and fucking chirp at me. So I'm not talking about those people. I mean, there was one guy that I responded to. What is that? There's a couple different accounts, and when I point to them, they're going to get harassed. So I don't want to do it. Or when I point to them, you're going to say, these are tiny accounts and they're insignificant. And I'm like, yeah, that's my point. I know they're insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but they still exist. That's why I said they're a 12-person reading group in a Splinter Discord and not a 1,200-person reading group in a Splinter Discord, right?
Democrats, if they get the opportunity to lead again, they need to do lasting material benefits for people going forward. And frankly, that's what these democratic socialists are proposing. You know, really nothing more radical than we saw from Democrats during the New Deal through the following 30 years when Democrats controlled Congress.
Well, and isn't it funny?
Yeah, no, it's a single party state going forward due to the popularity of these policies. But no one wants to do it.
Because if you say I'm an FDR Democrat or a New Deal Democrat,
just because they see it as a threat doesn't mean it is. Social democracy still reforms capitalism and the Democratic Party's image as well, but I still think you are helpful in radicalizing people, so it's a double-edged sword. Yes, dude, I want to do the welfareism. I want to do the welfare state so I can save capitalism. Or perhaps this is a much more successful method in galvanizing the masses, organizing the masses, and creating the necessary networks of pressure, okay? Bringing back labor militancy, for example, so that we have a structure, a disciplined organizational structure to actually make the necessary changes, okay? Because what you're describing is not happening. The alternative is not happening. This is one of the problems that I have with a lot of MLs, for example, where they look at like siege communism, they look at successful implementations of Marxist-Leninist doctrine, whether it be the USSR, whether it be the Communist Party of China, whether it be, the Communist Party of Cuba, right? And what they fail to comprehend is the material realities in all of these different societies, okay? Many of them largely agrarian, not industrialized. Many of them under a heinous fascist occupation. And it's not because it's 100 years ago. That's fine. If we had like the equivalence of the peasant class here in the United States of America, you could make the argument at least that like maybe there's a Maoist structure that we could abide by. But we don't. This has never been successful. The closest you can get to socialism in the United States of America is Olof Palme. Okay, that is the closest historical equivalence that you can point to. Okay, so we have to envision a different method regardless. We have to envision a different method. Okay? Because that clearly wasn't enough. I'm not saying that that is the end all be all. But what I'm trying to say is that is the closest any like developed nation, post-industrialized nation has gotten to maintaining some kind of socialist principle through democratic socialism, developing, the robust social safety nets and things of that nature. Is this what Sam does when he's on vacation?
Right, it hits a little different. Depending on where you are in the country, some of these terms scare people more or less. But when you talk about, yes, having an FDR posture towards regulating the banks before they invest in an AI boom that bankrupts everybody, or actually fighting corruption.
People who focus on thought-terminating cliches like social democracy being too moderate don't actually know about Olof Palme. I mean, that's the thing. Like that is the I think of Swedish social democracy as the closest equivalent to what is perceivable, what is permissible in like the in contemporary American society. Okay, it's not the final goal, but I'm just saying, like I feel like that is the most achievable thing in the interim. That's partially the reason why, Sam Cedar here is talking about FDR, New Deal Democrats. I just joined, but they're not mutually exclusive, are they? Like Twitter communists can be useless schizos, but Americans are still treat the rights, and us achieving social democracy doesn't do much to unravel global relations in a way necessary to undo the majority's enslavement and now avoid climate collapse. Not that it's futile because of that. I mean, look. In my travels, I've gone to other countries, okay? Noah Colvin would tell you a similar thing from his trips to all these different Latin American countries. The number one thing that labor organizers and very radical politicians, very radical socialists and communists ask is, who can we work with in the United States of America? The reality of the matter is they understand that the United States of America is this great behemoth that is constantly fucking things up. So from their perspective, if there's anyone that they can hold on to, if there's anyone that they can collaborate with, they will take advantage of that. So they are begging for this country to move in the appropriate direction. They are begging for it. They're holding out hope. So yeah, none of those conversations, including in Cuba, revolved around why haven't you stormed the Capitol with weapons and developed a vanguard party and overtook the American government and implemented a one-party communist state yet. None of those conversations happened. Those conversations are entirely the fancy of the internet. Okay? People are much more pragmatic and just want relief. So the best we can do is fix our problems here at home while also getting out of the way of others. That's my attitude on this issue. And what a lot of people don't realize is, like, you know what's funny? Here's what's funny. I think the Olof Palme comparison is probably the most apt, right? And the reason why I say that is because how do you think these Nordic countries or even the United States of America achieved the implementation of the New Deal, achieved the first iteration of social democracy here at the domestic level. How did these Nordic countries develop the Nordic system? They didn't do it through liberalism. Liberalism in Europe, and especially in social democracies, is a right-wing position. They achieved it because communists were pushing for it. They achieved it because socialists were pushing for it. And the same goes for the New Deal here in the United States of America. Okay? That's the irony of it all. The things that they developed back then, due to succumbing to the pressure of labor uprisings, mass instability, the labor militancy, trade unionists, anarchists throwing fucking Molotov cocktails at their workplaces and shit, gave us New Deal, gave us the New Deal democracy that we still take advantage of to this day. That's what a lot of liberals don't understand, where they're like, oh, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you guys are radicals. It's like, yeah, without radicals, you have nothing. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Shut the fuck up. There's never been a world where we've moved in the direction of progress, where we've had any sort of material benefit for the existing working class, where we've ever, like, without radicals, we would not have abolition of slavery. The fuck do you mean? You should be on your hands and knees kissing the feet of the radicals. They're the ones who are pushing the fucking boundaries. They're the ones who are progressing society. You just eat off their benefits and then you fucking hand wave them away. That's part of the reason why I get mad at the ultras that come in here and fucking shit on me instead of doing the goddamn work on their own. I mean, there was a time when liberalism was radical, but that's that's neither here nor there.
Or actually getting a square meal and a square deal, and all the rest. I think it's a fair point.
Yeah, but the establishment would call FDR a communist today, 100%. But they called him that back in the day as well. Like, they did. Yeah, the Washington Post solved the months-long mystery attacks on 3 fishing boats near the Galapagos. They are part of a covert CIA program with a spy plane with its ownership hidden behind an LLC oriented towards each boat before the strikes. And the prosecutor who was investigating these CIA strikes was murdered. The prosecutor who was investigating the CIA strikes was murdered. One of the boats is still missing. Survivors of the other 2 strikes say they were tortured before being dumped in El Salvador. All 3 craft were licensed commercial vessels cleared by Ecuadorian authorities, and there's no indication that they were engaged in drug trafficking. This is a scandal and horror of epic proportions. And yet, nothing will happen because people are too busy yelling about me. Okay? Anyway, J.D. Vance also understands the crisis that is imminent, the crisis that the Republicans are facing, because he's got his ear to the ground. So let's hear what he had to say.
And why is socialism sticking with young Americans?
Yeah.
Here's more of those questions and my conversation with Vice President.
Yeah. 1935, Franklin D. Roosevelt, communist art print. Look at that. Riding the donkey, waving the fucking hammer and sickle flag. FDR mocking Republicans, some things never change.
We believe in social security. We believe in work for the unemployed. We believe in saving homes. Cross our hearts and hope to die. We believe in all these things. But we do not like the way the present administration is doing them. Just turn them over to us. We will do all of them.
It's so funny because FDR, they called him a communist. They called him a fascist. They also said that he was betraying liberalism, abandoning the principles. And they literally, I mean, they tried to kill him. That's another thing. Right? And this motherfucker brought about a de facto one-party social democracy to this country, okay?
We will do more of them.
FDR loved data centers, Hassan. Yeah, he would have loved data centers.
We will do them better, and most important of all, the doing of them will not cost anybody anything.
This is the clearest FDR clip I've ever seen. The quality of this clip is fantastic. The Democrats need to make this into a political ad now. Who 7 years ago? Who even now? Why don't people bring this up more when being called a communist? I mean, I don't know. I don't think people actually care. It's the same as, dude, it's okay. We bring up MLK being a democratic socialist. We bring up Malcolm X being a communist. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They literally don't care. They just do not care. Some people do not care. Fox poll has 10% more black voters going to Rogers this year versus Slotkins. That's crazy. Black voters are not voting 22% Rogers, but the white voter margin looks typical for Michigan. Oh, so that's the reason why. That's the reason why Fox News' poll thought that Rogers would defeat Abdul El-Sayed handily. That's why they're calling you racist? Bro, that's crazy. Here's what's fucking nutty about all of this. Okay? The solution to it is actually a real Obama endorsement. Okay? That's number one. Number two, Abdul literally served Wayne County. What are we talking about? Like, all of the Democratic Party leaders that endorse Haley Stevens are going to endorse Abdul El-Sayed. They all want to defeat Mike Rogers. They all want the Democratic Party to maintain a Senate majority. If the Republicans think they can get away with this by being like Hassan Piker Hassan Piker wants to go back and do lynchings by literally fucking smearing me, okay? Good luck to them. There's no shot. I mean, look, I'm very confident. Hopefully the Democrats don't wreck this shit. Seeing the David Crowley pro data center approach made me, confused. Or not obtain a Senate majority. I apologize. I said maintain. I was wrong.
President J.D. Vance. Let's talk for a minute about Iran. There is frustration, Mr. Vice President, I think, out there on the seesaw nature of what's going on in Iran. We're close to a deal, then we're going to bomb the hell out of them. The strait is open, then the strait is closed. And I'm sure that frustration is shared inside the White House. So I know it's hard to project, but let me ask you, how does this end? What does this look like when and if it's over with Iran?
Well, the thing I can say with confidence is I think this ends with the United States in a stronger position, with Iran not having a nuclear weapon, and with the Strait of Hormuz returned to a place where oil and gas prices are stable for the American people. I think the issue here, Will, is that the Iranians sometimes make commitments that they don't honor. They make a deal, they don't honor the deal. And I understand your point about the seesaw nature of this, but I think what that reflects is that we have a lot of tools at our disposal to compel action. And sometimes we're focused on the energy piece of it because we want Americans to be able to afford the price of oil and gas. Sometimes we're obviously focused on the military nature of it. Sometimes we're focused on the nuclear program. So I think what is really happening is that you're seeing a president of the United States at the height of his authority with a lot of tools, diplomatic, military, and economic. What I think is really going on from the inside is that we're using those tools very selectively, very strategically to get the outcome that the President of the United States needs to get for the benefit of the American people. And it really is twofold. It's ensuring that the Gulf countries continue to send oil and gas to the world economy so that we have energy price stability. That's obviously important for the American people. I know that oil is down today, and it's way down from the highs in the early days of the conflict. That's goal number one. Keep oil and gas cheap for Americans all over our country. And then obviously goal number two is ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. I feel confident we're accomplishing both of those goals, but it's inherently an unpredictable thing because the Iranians themselves are unpredictable and they sometimes don't honor the commitments they've made to us.
All right, really quickly, I want to ask you this. There is obviously, and I think it's beyond comedically, a movement in the United States to embrace socialism. We've seen, for example, a joke of a candidate in Wisconsin still get 300,000 votes, people voting.
La Rosa taking another swipey based on the Fox News polls, courtesy of the lunatic pro-Hamas Hassan Piker wing of the Democratic Party, not Chuck Schumer. Michigan is the only battleground Senate race Fox News' poll where Republicans are ahead. Democrats lead in. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Stop poll watching. By the way, dog, you literally said you're in favor of Mike Rogers winning. So why are you acting like you're sad about this outcome if you believe it?
For democratic socialism. But I think the real question, and I think it's a question for you, it's a question for Republicans at large, is this. When a young person looks at their life and they say, you know, I did what America asked me to do. I went to college, I got a job, and I don't think I can afford the life that my parents could afford. Now, whether or not that's statistically accurate, it is a real feeling and a growing feeling. So what is your answer to that young person?
You know, our answer, Will, and this is the exact right question to ask, because our response to socialism, which is a dangerous and destructive ideology, it's been tried in the past and failed, our response to that can't be just to ignore the economic concerns that I think are feeding this rising interest in socialism.
You got Fox News talking about this? I mean, J.D. Vance, I can't believe I'm saying this, but J.D. Vance at least understands that the Republicans are kind of fucked. Like, J.D. Vance understands that, like, this is a warning to the Republican Party from J.D. Vance to be like, you can't get away by saying it's communism to worry about prices, you fucking idiots. I mean, he literally did dunk on Dan Crenshaw for doing that the other day. Dan Crenshaw straight up came out and said, oh, you're complaining about $20 burritos? Well, fuck you. Eat some ramen and shut the fuck up. You know who cares? You know who complains about inflation? Communists. That's who. That's what Dan Crenshaw said. And JD Vance obviously dunked on him and was like, shut the fuck up. This is why you lost your race, whatever. So at least he understands that if the Republicans come out and do old school conservatism, because that's what old school conservatism is. A lot of people, came around. Many of you are too young to remember this, but that's what conservatives used to say. Conservatives didn't used to do left populism, right? Fake slopulism. They used to straight up say you're poor because you're morally inferior. To be rich is glorious, and you should recognize your station. A lot of this changed, obviously, in the Reagan era, but there was still plenty of country club conservatism up until George W. Bush, and then Donald Trump basically destroyed it. Now, conservatives don't do the personal responsibility shit as much any longer. Hasan, when he wants to talk about his past, a lot of you are too young for this. I'm also Unk. Did you just go back in the day on us, Unk? Yes, I'm a fucking boomer. Yeah, forget iPhones. This is the level of animosity Fox News has had towards poor people. Definition of poor families, not what it used to be. 99.6% have a refrigerator in poor households. Tom Tiffany calls Crowley a socialist? What? No way. What? Wait, what? But Republicans would never do that. Wait, what? Republicans never call random Democrats socialists. That's so strange. What? Did nobody pay attention to the race that just took place where the moderates defeated the socialists? Perhaps David Crowley should run on how he's not a socialist over and over again. One of your haters was put on the spot by one of your other biggest haters. Oh yeah, I saw this.
In the final 2 weeks, and they said, we have got to change this. When Francesca Hong imploded, which started when she said that the police officer committed an execution, that was the beginning of the end for her. And they were like, we've got to get somebody else here in Wisconsin. And they were able to execute that with David Crowley.
Congressman Tiffany, can you tell me, because what I'm reading, their policies aren't all that different, are they? I mean, is David Crowley maybe a polished up version of Francesca Hong, or am I reading that incorrectly?
Yeah, it's a great point. Just 2 weeks ago, when they were having their debates, David Crowley never challenged Francesca Hong for the beliefs that she has. If you're trying to win a race, wouldn't you try to paint some contrast between you and your opponent? And he went on to say, my policies will be very similar, not much different than Francesca Hong, the socialist. The Democrats have capitulated to the socialists here in Wisconsin. Their leadership has capitulated. They are socialists now.
You know, I was digging into the numbers, and Hong, and I want to make this point. It was Madison. It's kind of an urban far-left crowd that voted for her from that beautiful town.
Let me guess. They're going to say the exact same thing that the fucking establishment Democrats are saying, which is that it's all wealthy urban people.
City, and then some of the rural communities got on board. It was more of a coalition for David Crowley. What is your strategy against him?
Sorry, I paused and I...
Oh, our strategy is the same since we started nearly a year ago, Harris. It's a 72-county strategy. There's been a few times we Republicans haven't been as vigorous in places like Dane County, which is Madison. We are competing in every corner of the state because we just think common sense is going to prevail. And I think it's a bipartisan issue that people want lower property taxes. They want their utility bills kept under control, those things that are all about affordability. That's not a partisan issue, and we think we're going to have people that are going to join us in that effort here.